Thanks to everyone who's joining this impromptu live. Realistically, a lot of you are probably watching this later. I wanted to set up this video to talk about an important topic, or at least a topic that keeps coming up here of lately, which is directories. And there's a bit of confusion surrounding directories and what needs to be done and who should do what. And I wanted to make this video to provide some clarity for all the law firms out there who are wanting to rank better in Google and the organic results, who want their name to show up more often in AI search, and who just overall wants to have a better brand presence on the internet. And so anyone who's in any of those areas right now in marketing is telling you to update your directories. Now, here's the much needed clarity on directories and what we're trying to do. So first, having consistent directory listings has pretty much always been important for SEO. Back in the day, we used to talk a lot about name, address, and phone number, and how your internet directory should have a consistency among those things: name, address, phone number. And the more consistency you had on the internet regarding your law firm's contact information, the better potentially you were able to rank in a service like Google Maps. Now, part of the confusion that's coming in today when we talk about directories is law firms aren't realizing there are two primary kinds of directories. The first type are these general internet directories, which list many different types of businesses. Those are going to be your Yellow Book, your Better Business Bureau, your MapQuest, Apple Maps, Google Maps. All of these are general internet directories. Any business could be listed on there, and it's important on these directories to have that consistent name, address, and phone number. And I'll even expand upon that to say it's actually also important for you to have an updated and accurate description, list of practice areas, updated photos, business hours. Essentially, you want to look at these directory profiles and say, is all this information up to date and accurate? What are our main practice areas? When are we saying we're open to take calls? What are we saying in our description? All of those things on your general internet directory profiles need to be accurate and consistent. And generally, I'm using Google Business as the key. So Google Business is the main internet directory for all intents and purposes. And all these other general internet directories need to match the name, phone number, address, description that you're using on Google Business. And creating this kind of consistency among those general internet directories is going to help in the long term with your brand visibility on the internet. Now, those are general internet directories. Those are directories that, by and large, it's easy for SEO companies to update without involving the law firm. And in fact, there are a lot of services that already hook into these general internet directories and will update those listings on behalf of your business. Some of those are going to be like Yext. I use Bright Local. There are many others. Those are the main two that I can think of at this moment. And those tools will basically connect all of these directories and sync the information so they're matching your main Google business listing or whatever business information you use to set up that account or profile. That's actually a tricky one with Yext. If you set up Yext and tell it to use a particular phone number for your business listing, then you forget you have a subscription to Yext and you go and change the phone number associated with that listing. All of a sudden, you keep wondering why that phone number gets switched back to the old number. It's because Yext is syncing information on that listing and they have an outdated phone number. So if you've ever had that problem, that's probably what's happening. And SEO companies have made it a part of their standard service package to update those generalized directory listings on behalf of their clients. Now, what a lot of SEO companies don't say when they start this process is there are some directories they can update without any help from the law firm. There are some that they do need help from the law firm to update, primarily because at some point somebody at your business created an Apple Maps, Bing Places, Yellow Pages profile for your business and saved the login. And the SEO company needs that login to be able to log in and update those pages. And so it becomes a task for your team or your internal team to find that login or reset that password to send it to the SEO company. A whole lot of work, and it tends to be annoying. And there are some website generalized internet directories that don't accept automated updates. And so no matter if the SEO company has all of the information or none of it, they still couldn't actually make an update to that listing unless they were to log in and manually update each field. And by and large, when these SEO companies are updating listings, they're not directly editing each listing unless they absolutely had to or they specifically told you they would. Most of the time, they're using a third-party tool like Yext, like Bright Local, I mentioned before, to update on their behalf. And so there's a lot of that falls through the cracks. And sometimes the law firm is expected to pick up and update the directories that the SEO company couldn't. And sometimes, more often than not, the SEO company updates what they can, and everyone moves on until the law firm does another local directory citation report and finds that their score is still not 100%. Okay, so those were the general internet directories. Let's talk about the legal directories, which are their own separate category of internet directory. So these legal directories include actually a long list: Justia, Martindale, Avo, Super Lawyers. I'm trying to think of the others because there are so many. And they're justgreatlawyers.com. There are a ton. There are a ton of these dedicated legal space directories that their whole job is listing lawyers and or listing law firms. And some of these directories, you could even purchase leads through them. Because believe it or not, these legal directories often rank better for high intent keyword searches than small law firms. So if you were just to do an incognito browser search for best personal injury attorneys near me, the results aren't going to be exactly the same person to person, but most likely you're going to see something like Yelp. I almost said Yext. Something like Yelp, something like Justia, where they're listing, they have a listicle of attorneys, top 10 personal injury attorneys near Warrenton, Virginia, or something similar. And they're going to rank better for those high intent search terms than the actual law firms. And if you were to look in a tool like Ahrefs or SEMrush and check the domain rating for those legal directories, what you'll find is those legal directories have a very high domain rating. And that's because by and large, Google sees these as trustworthy or authoritative websites on the internet that talk about legal and law. And so they outrank the law firms themselves. And ChatGPT, Gemini, Perplexity, and the rest all lean on these legal directories for reviews, for educational information about the attorney, their work history, basically what practice areas they practice, all of the information you might list on these legal directories. ChatGPT and all the other AI LLM tools, they go to the directories first. And by and large, they consider these directories more authoritative sources of information about attorneys than your own website, let's first say. And it's unfortunate, but it's true. And I actually really understand why. Justia is going to be more honest and accurate about, a particular law firm is going to have better information than what the law firm says about themselves on their own website. We've known for a long time that Google actually ranks more than your website. It ranks your brand. And so Google looks at your website and says, this is good information, but it's all information provided by the business. And very much like a social media profile, it's information framed in the best possible light to make the law firm look as good as possible. That's what us marketers do. And so, the website is marketing. But Google and the other LLMs and the AI tools, they have the legal directories, which act as kind of a fact check for the information that our website provides. And one of the hacks, and it was an early hack with these AI tools, is recognizing that these AI tools leaned on these directories and sites like Super Lawyers and Justia. And then SEO companies figured out that, hey, if we tell our law firm clients to update directories and claim as many of their directory listings as they can, and like what we were doing with the local directories, the Yellow Books, the Google Business, the non-industry specific directories, we'll have the law firms update their legal directory profiles and make that a part of what we're doing to build citations. And then the more citations, naturally, the more likely we're going to be referenced in AI search. But the reason I wanted to make this video, and the reason this gets confusing, is we already talked about how SEO companies might update the generalized legal directories. A lot of times they're doing it from a distance using third-party tools. Legal directories don't yet have a similar tool that will log in on your behalf and update information on that listing based on the information you provided. There's no Yext for legal directories, not yet. Maybe I should make it. That would be cool, actually. So unlike the generalized directories, somebody has to manually log in to the legal directories and update the information provided there. And it really does have to be a human being. I don't believe these legal directory websites allow autonomous agents to log in and make edits and changes. Some might, but I don't believe that's common right now. And so, and it can't necessarily be, I guess it could be, but it's usually not the SEO company making these updates. And the big reason for that is because the legal directories usually require a law firm email to set up a profile. And usually at some point, it was the lawyer themselves who set up their profile. And so at that time, they created a username and login, saved it, lost it, forgot about it. And now we have to recover that to come back in to update their legal directory listing. And again, there's no third-party tools that's going to do this on our behalf. There's only, our record of saved logins or the recover password process that's going to get us into these directory tools. And sites like Super Lawyers and Avo and Martindale, they fall under internet brands. And so there's actually one unified portal you can log into to update many directory listings at once, but it's a part of the premium subscription with those particular companies. Now, so like the general internet directories, your legal directories need to have matching business name, address, and phone number and business description. But unlike the general internet directories, which are purely listing businesses, the legal directories are actually usually listing specific attorneys. And so if you're at a law firm that has multiple attorneys, it behooves you from an SEO perspective to make sure all of those attorneys have updated directory listings where their current workplace is updated with accurate information matching them to our law firm. And as anyone who's had to work with a firm with a bunch of attorneys, some of them who care very little about the marketing side, that can be hard to do. but it's a very good quick win you can get for a firm from an SEO or AGO, GEO perspective. If you can access each of these individual directories and update the listings so we have that name, address, phone number, description consistency. And this is really hard to do because there are a lot of legal directories and there seem to be a growing number added each day. I learn about new legal directories all the time. It always makes me sad because I feel at this point in my career, I should know all of them by heart. But there's so many that get created, and some of them become successful websites that surprise you in a few years when you're like, oh, that's still around. And some, quietly die off. But even for those that quietly die off, that they're legal directories you've never heard of, they actually still have value because, again, Google isn't just ranking our website. ChatGPT isn't just ranking our website. That's not the only thing these tools are judging when they're evaluating whether or not they're going to recommend our business. These tools are judging our brand and what is said about us on the internet. So even an old even an old legal directory that nobody uses the website anymore, but it still exists. It has a somewhat high domain authority and it still points back to our website. Having enough of those adds value to your SEO, to your AGO. But going back to why I wanted to make this video, the legal directories aren't something easily outsourced to the SEO companies, because the SEO companies, to update these, there's no third-party tool that can do it on their behalf. Each profile has to be logged into and manually updated. Some of them require two-factor authentication. Some of them require a law firm email address that matches your domain to be able to create a profile. It's not something that your SEO company can easily absorb without having to request a bunch of information from you, which kind of negates delegating it to the SEO company in the first place. So this is one of those very specific and special instances where I tell law firms this is one of the reasons you need a marketing assistant or somebody in-house who can network and interface directly with your teams, follow up about logins needed, headshots needed, descriptions needed, get those two-factor authentication codes by text or by email, and make those needed updates. And it's a boring project. I'm not going to lie to you. Updating internet directories is not the kind of work I dreamed about when I wanted to go into marketing, but it is still important work. It's still important to do. It's still necessary to do. And when you think about it, it's exactly what we're trained to do as marketers, which is making sure everything is on brand. Except in this case, we're specifically making sure the brand information on all of these many dozens of websites matches the brand information that we're putting out there on the internet, that we're using on Google Business, that we want people to know us for. So I'm debating whether or not to lengthen this video to talk about the paid portion of this, because some of these directories, will say, hey, pay us a little bit each month to be a platinum member or a premium member. And sometimes those contracts are worth it. Sometimes they're not. And it wholly depends on the detail within the contract. I can tell you currently, I don't believe lead generation through any of these platforms is valuable. The leads that come through the Find Laws, the NOLOs of the world, they're not as good as the leads you could get direct, potentially. But, is it worth it to pay them a few $100 a month to be the first law firm listed in your county anytime somebody searches for personal injury attorney? I believe yes. So thank you guys so much for joining with me on this unscheduled, sudden live call. I just felt like this would be a good thing to discuss because the directories, they come up a lot. They come up a lot when we're talking about marketing, and it's kind of new for some people. Thanks again. We'll talk to everyone soon.